Toxic people feed off one thing: your reaction. They thrive when they know they can get under your skin, shift your mood, and take control of the conversation. But here's the one thing that changes everything: composure. When you stay calm, when you don't bite at their bait, when you answer with silence or short clarity instead of long explanations, you take away their fuel. Boundaries don't always need to be loud. Sometimes it's as simple as saying less and meaning more. A calm no, a quiet exit, or even just refusing to let their chaos control your emotions. And here's the shift most people miss. Detachment is not cruelty, it's self-respect. You're not punishing them, you're protecting you. You can't change toxic people, but you can change the way you respond to them. And the moment you realize your peace belongs to you, not them, that's the moment they stop bothering you. So the next time someone tries to pull you into their storm, remember, don't feed it, don't fight it, just stay calm, set your line, and walk in peace. Clarity is power. When you're clear with yourself, toxic people lose control. Most of the time, they thrive in confusion, in mixed signals, in the spaces where you second-guess yourself. They live off hesitation because hesitation gives them room to step in and steer your emotions. But when you know exactly who you are, what you stand for, and what you will not tolerate, suddenly their tricks stop working. Clarity is like light in a dark room. It exposes everything and leaves no space for manipulation. When you are clear with yourself, you don't need to keep explaining your boundaries over and over again. You don't need to raise your voice or convince anyone why your standards exist. You simply live them. And toxic people hate that because they can't argue with someone who is unshakably firm in their truth. It's like trying to push against a wall that doesn't move. The clearer you are, the calmer you become, and the calmer you are, the harder it is for anyone to disturb your peace. Clarity is not about being aggressive. It's not about proving anyone wrong or trying to control the other person. It's about removing the fog within yourself. The moment you decide, this is who I am, this is what I allow, this is what I refuse, something powerful happens. You stop needing their approval. And without your need for their validation, they lose their leverage over you. Toxic people rely on that need. They rely on the fact that you want to be liked, that you want to be accepted, that you want to avoid conflict at all costs. When you stop seeking from them what you can give yourself, clarity, confidence, and self-respect, they have nothing left to hold on to. Think about it. If someone throws insults and you know with complete clarity that those words don't define you, then their power vanishes. If someone tries to guilt trip you but you are clear on your boundaries, then the trap collapses. Clarity doesn't stop people from trying, but it stops you from falling. And that is where your strength lies. People will always project, criticize, and manipulate, but clarity creates a shield. You don't waste time explaining to people who don't care to understand. You don't bend to fit into a box that was never meant for you. You simply walk your path with steadiness, and in doing so, you automatically draw a line toxic people can't cross. And here's the truth. Clarity feels uncomfortable at first. It can feel cold. It can feel like you're being too firm. But in reality, it's one of the greatest forms of kindness you can give yourself. Because clarity is not just about pushing others back, it's about pulling yourself forward. It's about living in alignment with your values, so you no longer betray yourself in order to keep someone else comfortable. So if you want toxic people to lose their grip on your life, stop waiting for them to change. Get clear, get steady, stand firm in who you are. Because once you have clarity, their control is gone, and your peace finally belongs to you. Boundaries are not walls, they're doors you control. Too often people think that setting boundaries means shutting everyone out, building barriers so high that nobody can reach you. But the truth is, boundaries are not about isolation, they're about choice. They're about deciding who gets to walk in, who stays at the threshold, and who doesn't get access at all. A wall keeps everyone out, but a door gives you control over who you allow in. That's the difference. Boundaries aren't punishment, they're protection. They are the framework that keeps your peace safe and your energy guarded. When you think of boundaries as walls, you start to feel guilty. You worry that you're being harsh, unkind, or distant. And that's why so many people avoid setting them. But when you understand that boundaries are doors, you realize that it's not about pushing people away, it's about letting the right people come closer. The people who respect your boundaries will never feel offended by them. In fact, healthy people love boundaries because they create clarity and mutual respect. Toxic people, on the other hand, will push against them, test them, and try to break them. And that's exactly how you know the boundary is working. A boundary can be as simple as deciding how much time you give, how much energy you invest, and what behaviors you no longer tolerate. It can sound like, I'm not available to talk about this, or I can't make it this time, or simply, no. The power of boundaries is not in how loudly you enforce them, but in how consistently you keep them. Every time you honor your boundary, you teach others how to treat you. And more importantly, you teach yourself that your peace matters. Think of boundaries like the lock on your front door. You don't lock your door because you hate people. You lock it because you value what's inside. Your time, your energy, your emotions. These are treasures that deserve protection. And just like you wouldn't let a stranger walk into your home uninvited, you don't have to let anyone walk into your life unfiltered. A lock doesn't mean nobody gets in. It means you choose who does. That's the strength of a boundary. The hardest part about setting boundaries is not telling others. It's reminding yourself that you deserve them. Because sometimes the person who violates your boundaries the most is you. When you say yes out of guilt, when you overextend yourself, when you allow someone to cross a line because you fear conflict. But the moment you start honoring your own rules, others have no choice but to follow. Boundaries are not selfish. They are self-respect. They allow you to give without resentment, to love without losing yourself, to engage without being drained. When you see them as doors, not walls, you realize they don't close you off from the world. They simply open in the right direction. And the people who truly belong in your life will walk through those doors with ease, while the ones who don't will be left outside, exactly where they're meant to be. Silence is often louder than words. It carries a weight that arguments, explanations, and defenses can't compete with. In a world where people rush to respond, to prove their point, or to win the last word, silence becomes a rare form of strength. Toxic people especially expect noise. They want your reaction. They want your energy. They want proof that they still have control over how you feel. And when you refuse to give them that reaction, when you stand in silence instead of stepping into their chaos, you take away the very thing they came for. Silence is not weakness. It's not avoidance. It's intentional power. Because silence says, I hear you, but I don't have to play this game. It communicates calm where others expect conflict. It sets a boundary without ever raising your voice. Think about it. When someone insults you and you don't argue back, you show them that their words fell flat. When someone pushes for drama and you meet it with calm stillness, the storm collapses. Silence strips away the power struggle because it refuses to enter the ring. There's another reason silence is powerful. It forces people to face themselves. When you don't respond, they're left with their own words, their own behavior, their own noise. And sometimes that silence is louder than any rebuttal you could have given. It makes them sit in the discomfort of their own actions without you rescuing them, without you softening the blow, without you letting them off the hook. Silence has a way of turning the mirror back on them. And most toxic people can't stand to see their reflection that clearly. But silence isn't just about them, it's also about you. It's about choosing peace over pettiness, clarity over chaos. Every time you choose silence, you protect your energy. You remind yourself that not every battle deserves your presence. Not every opinion deserves a response, and not every situation requires your explanation. The more you practice silence, the stronger your composure becomes. And composure is what keeps you unshaken when the noise around you rises. That doesn't mean silence is always easy. Sometimes your pride wants to fight back. Your ego wants to prove a point. Your anger wants to fire off the perfect comeback. But the truth is, those words don't change toxic people. They don't create peace. They just pull you deeper into the trap. Silence, on the other hand, ends the cycle before it begins. It keeps you in control. It keeps you free. So the next time someone tries to provoke you, remember this: silence is not empty. It's full of answers. It tells them you're not available for manipulation. It tells them your energy is too valuable to waste. It tells them their noise has no power here. And sometimes the strongest thing you can say is nothing at all. Detachment doesn't mean you don't care. It means you won't carry. For so many people, the word detachment sounds cold, like shutting people out, like turning off your emotions, like refusing to love. But that's not what it is at all. Detachment is not about indifference. It's about refusing to hold what was never yours to hold in the first place. It's about recognizing the line between empathy and responsibility, between compassion and burden. You can care deeply for someone without carrying the weight of their choices, their chaos, or their pain. Toxic people will often try to convince you that caring means absorbing, that if you truly love them, you will take on their problems, their moods, their anger, their drama. But that's not love, that's control. Detachment breaks that cycle. It says, I can love you, but I won't lose myself for you. It's the decision to stop dragging around someone else's baggage while trying to walk your own path. When you detach, you don't stop caring. You simply stop carrying what doesn't belong on your back. Think about it like this. If someone is drowning, you don't save them by letting them pull you under with them. You help best when you stay afloat yourself. Detachment is the lifeline that allows you to remain steady so you can actually be useful. Without it, you burn out. You collapse under a weight that was never yours, and in the end, you lose your peace while they keep repeating the same pattern. Detachment is not selfish, it's sustainable. It's the only way you can love without being destroyed by that love. Detachment also exposes truth. When you refuse to carry, people reveal who they really are. The ones who respect your boundaries will adjust, grow, and take responsibility for themselves. The ones who are toxic will guilt, blame, and lash out because they no longer benefit from your endless giving. And as hard as it is to watch, that reaction is clarity. It shows you exactly who wants partnership and who just wants a host. But detachment doesn't just free you from others. It frees you from yourself, from the guilt of not fixing everything, from the pressure of being the savior, from the lie that love equals sacrifice without limit. When you detach, you remind yourself, I am not responsible for anyone's happiness but my own. And from that space, you can give freely, because your giving is no longer poisoned by resentment. Detachment is not coldness, it's clarity. It's the choice to care without collapsing, to love without losing, to show up without shutting down. It's the quiet strength that says, I will walk beside you, but I will not carry what you refuse to put down. And that's the kind of love that actually lasts, steady, strong, and free. Toxic people feed on reaction. Starve them with composure. The moment you give them your anger, your frustration, your raised voice, or your defensive explanation, you've given them exactly what they wanted. Their power doesn't come from their words or their actions alone. It comes from how much of yourself you hand over in response. Every sigh, every eye roll, every heated comeback is fuel for their fire. And once they know they can get a rise out of you, they'll keep coming back for more. But the second you meet them with composure, the game changes. Composure is not about pretending you're unaffected. It's not about bottling up emotions or denying that something hurt. Composure is about refusing to let someone else dictate your behavior. It's the pause before the reply, the calm tone in the middle of chaos, the decision to walk away instead of staying in the fight. When you hold your ground without matching their energy, you strip away the reward they came for. Toxic people thrive on drama, but drama needs two actors. If you don't play your part, the show ends early. There's a kind of strength in composure that no outburst can match. Anyone can shout back. Anyone can slam the door, send the angry text, or fire off the perfect comeback. But not everyone can stay steady when someone is shaking the ground beneath them. That steadiness is what starves toxicity. Because while they're escalating, you're anchoring. While they're trying to pull you into their storm, you're choosing to remain in your calm. And nothing frustrates a toxic person more than realizing their tricks don't work anymore. Composure also keeps you in control of yourself. Think about how many times regret comes after reaction. You replay the words you said, the tone you used, the way you lost your cool. Toxic people want that cycle. They want you to feel guilty, to feel unstable, to question yourself. But composure breaks that loop. When you respond with calm, you walk away with no regrets, no apologies for things you didn't mean, no extra weight on your shoulders. You leave the situation lighter because you stayed aligned with who you want to be. This doesn't mean composure is easy. It takes practice to breathe instead of bite, to pause instead of pounce. But every time you choose composure, you build a habit of strength. You train yourself to be unshakable. And over time, toxic people notice. They notice that their words no longer sting the way they used to, that their manipulations no longer twist you, that their chaos no longer controls the room. Eventually, they either shift their behavior or move on in search of an easier target. Starving toxicity with composure is not about winning. It's about ending the game altogether. It's about refusing to trade your peace for their poison. So the next time someone tries to provoke you, remember, reaction feeds them, but composure frees you. And freedom will always be louder than any fight you didn't need to join. Your peace is your responsibility, not their gift. Too often people hand over the keys to their emotions and wait for someone else to decide how they should feel. They say, if they would just treat me better, I'd be happy. Or if they would just stop, I'd finally feel at peace. But the moment you put your peace in someone else's hands, you've already lost it. Because people are unpredictable. Some days they'll be kind, other days they'll be cruel. And if your calm depends on them, you'll always live in reaction instead of intention. Peace is not something that gets delivered to you when the world is perfect. It's something you build and protect from within. And the truth is, most toxic people don't want you to know that. They want you to believe your emotions are tied to theirs, that your calm depends on their approval, that your joy only comes when they allow it, That way they get to stay in control. But the moment you take responsibility for your peace, they lose that power. Taking responsibility doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop depending. It means you stop waiting for someone else to apologize before you decide to forgive. It means you stop expecting someone to change before you decide to move forward. It means you stop letting their chaos bleed into your calm. You might not control what they say, what they do, or how they act, but you absolutely control what you allow to take root inside of you. That control is where peace lives. Responsibility also means boundaries. If someone constantly disrupts your peace, you have the power to limit their access. Maybe that means spending less time with them. Maybe it means not engaging in certain conversations. Maybe it means walking away entirely. The point is, you choose, because your peace is not a luxury, it's a necessity. And protecting it is not rude, it's survival. There will always be people who test your patience, push your buttons, and try to drag you into their storm. But peace is not about waiting for those people to disappear. Peace is about learning how to stand steady in the middle of it all. It's the deep breath before responding. It's the calm tone when someone expects your anger. It's the quiet decision to prioritize your sanity over their chaos. That's not something anyone can give you. That's something only you can build. And here's the beauty of it. When your peace comes from within, it can't be stolen. People might try to shake you, but you'll recover faster. They might throw negativity your way, but it won't stick. They might bring storms, but you'll know how to anchor yourself. Because your peace is no longer in their hands. It's in yours. So stop waiting for someone else to make it easy. Stop waiting for them to change before you finally feel free. Your peace is yours to create, yours to protect, and yours to keep. It was never their gift. It has always been your responsibility. At the end of the day, everything we've talked about comes back to one simple truth. Toxic people only have the power you hand them. When you live with clarity, set boundaries that protect you, embrace silence over reaction, detach with love instead of carrying what isn't yours, hold your composure when they try to stir chaos, and take responsibility for your own peace, you stop playing their game. You stop being controlled, drained, or defined by them. And this isn't about shutting people out or becoming cold. It's about choosing yourself, protecting your energy, and living in a way that aligns with who you truly are. When you do that, toxic people will either change how they approach you, or they'll fade away altogether. Either way, you win. Because real strength isn't in fighting back louder, it's in standing calm, steady, and free. And when you live that way, toxic people won't bother you anymore.